The shuttle landed on station horizon with a soft thud. Yuna grabbed her small bag and walked toward the exit ramp. She was the only human on the transport ship. The other passengers were tall creatures with blue skin and extra arms, or short furry beings that walked on 4 legs. None of them looked at her twice. Station horizon floated in the empty space between 3 star systems. It was home to the Galactic Military Academy, the most famous training ground in known space. Soldiers from over 300 species came, here to learn how to fight, how to lead, and how to survive. Yuna had traveled for 6 months to reach this place. She stepped off the ramp and into a massive hall. The ceiling was so high she could barely see it. Thousands of aliens moved in every direction. Some flew, some crawled. Some walked on legs that bent the wrong way. The noise was loud and strange, filled with clicks and hums and sounds Yuna had no words for. A floating sign directed new recruits to the registration area. Yuna followed it through the crowd. She kept her head down and walked at a steady pace. She had learned during her journey that most aliens ignored humans. They saw a small creature with soft skin and thin limbs. They saw something weak. The registration area was a long room with dozens of scanning stations. Each station had a tall machine and an officer sitting behind a desk. Yuna joined the shortest line and waited. The officer at her station was an insectoid named Breck. He had a hard shell, the color of dried blood, and compound eyes that reflected the light in strange patterns. His arms were thin but covered in sharp spines. When Yuna reached his desk, he looked at her like she was a piece of furniture. "Species?" Breck asked. His voice was a series of clicks translated by a small device on his chest. "Human," Yuna said. Breck typed something into his terminal. "Planet of origin?" "Earth." The scanning machine beside her lit up. A beam of blue light moved over her body from head to toe. It measured her height, her weight, her bone density, her muscle mass. It checked her blood and her brain waves. It recorded everything about her in less than 3 seconds. Breck looked at the results on his screen. His compound eyes shifted slightly. "The scanner has flagged something," he said. "It says Earthborn. What does this mean?" Yuna shrugged. "It means I was born on Earth." Breck stared at her for a moment. Then he shook his head. "Probably a glitch in the system. Earth is a new contact world. The database does not have complete information." He pressed a button and a small card came out of his terminal. "Barracks 7. Training begins tomorrow at first light cycle. Do not be late." Yuna took the card and walked away. She did not look back. Barracks 7 was in the lowest section of the station. The hallways were narrow and the lights were dim. The walls had stains that Yuna did not want to think about. This was where they put the recruits that nobody expected to succeed. Her room was small. There were 4 beds attached to the walls and a single window that looked out at the stars. 2 of the beds were already taken. The first belonged to Dory, an amphibian from a water world called Myra. Dory had smooth green skin and large eyes that never seemed to blink. Thin fins ran along the sides of his arms and legs. He was nervous and spoke in a soft voice. The second bed belonged to Tal. She was a mammalian from a planet called Voss. She stood almost 7 feet tall and had 4 arms, each one thick with muscle. Her fur was dark gray and her teeth were sharp. She looked at Yuna like she was looking at food. "What is this?" Tal said. She pointed at Yuna with one of her lower arms. "They are sending children to the academy now?" "I am not a child," Yuna said. She walked to the empty bed and put her bag on it. Tal laughed. The sound was deep and rough. "How did something so small even pass the physical test? Your arms are like sticks. I could break you in half without trying." Yuna did not answer. She opened her bag and began to unpack. She had only brought a few things: some clothes, a small book with a worn cover. A photograph of a mountain range covered in snow. Dury watched from his bed. "Ignore her," he said quietly. "Tal is from a warrior culture. She respects only strength." "I can hear you," Tal said. "And I respect strength because strength is all that matters. The galaxy is dangerous. The weak die. The strong survive. This is the truth." Yuna finished unpacking and sat on her bed. She looked at Tal. "You are right," she said. "The galaxy is dangerous. The weak die." She paused. "But sometimes the strong do not know what weakness looks like." Tal snorted. "Is that supposed to be wise? Save your words, little human. Words will not help you in the training hall." Yuna smiled. It was a small smile, barely visible. Then she lay down on her bed and closed her eyes. The next few days followed a simple pattern. Wake up, eat, train, eat again, train again, sleep. The academy pushed its recruits hard from the very first day. Yuna watched and learned. She studied the other species. She memorized their movements and their weaknesses. She listened to the instructors and followed their orders exactly. But she also noticed things that the others did not see. She noticed that she ate twice as much as Dory at every meal. She noticed that Tal needed 8 hours of sleep while she needed only 4. She noticed that when they ran laps around the training field, the other recruits slowed down after an hour. She did not slow down. Nobody else noticed these things. They were too busy looking at her small body and her thin arms. They saw what they expected to see. On the 5th day, Dury sat next to her at dinner. "You are strange," he said. "You never complain. You never get tired. You never seem afraid." Yuna chewed her food slowly. "I'm afraid," she said. "I'm just used to it." "Used to what?" Yuna looked at him. Her eyes were calm and steady. "Used to surviving." Dory did not know what to say to that. He finished his meal in silence. That night, Yuna stood at the small window in their room. She looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, very far away, was a small blue planet orbiting a yellow sun. It was a planet of deep oceans and tall mountains. A planet of storms and earthquakes and fires. A planet where everything wanted to kill you and nothing stayed safe for long. It was home. Yuna touched the glass with her fingertips. Tomorrow was the combat fundamentals course. Tomorrow, everything would change. She was ready. The combat training hall was the largest room Yuna had ever seen. The ceiling rose 50 meters above the floor. The walls were made of dark metal that absorbed sound. Hundreds of recruits stood in neat rows, waiting for the instructor to arrive. Yuna stood in the back row with Dury on her left and Tal on her right. Tal had not spoken to her since their first night in the barracks. She treated Yuna like empty air. The doors at the far end of the hall opened. Every recruit turned to look. Instructor Kale walked in. He was massive. His species came from a planet with gravity twice as strong as the galactic standard. His body had evolved to handle that crushing weight. His legs were like tree trunks. His arms were thick with muscle and covered in hard plates of natural armor. His skin was dark gray and rough like stone. When he walked, the floor shook slightly under his feet. Kale stopped in the center of the hall. He looked at the recruits with small yellow eyes. His face showed no emotion. "I am Instructor Kale," he said. His voice was deep and loud. It filled the entire hall without effort. "I have served in the galactic military for 40 years. I have fought in 12 wars. I have killed enemies from 60 different species." He began to walk between the rows of recruits. His footsteps were heavy and slow. "You are here because you want to be soldiers. But wanting is not enough. The galaxy does not care about your dreams or your hopes. The galaxy is cold and dark and full of things that will kill you without a second thought." He stopped in front of a tall recruit with bright feathers. The recruit stood at attention, trying not to shake. "My job is to teach you how to survive," My job is to make you strong. And my job is to remove the weak before they get good soldiers killed. Without warning, Kale swung his arm. His fist hit the feathered recruit in the chest. The recruit flew backward and crashed to the floor. He did not get up. Too slow, Kale said. Medical team, remove him. 2 small robots floated over and carried the unconscious recruit away. Kale continued walking. In real combat, your enemy will not warn you before they attack. They will not wait for you to be ready. They will strike when you are tired, when you are distracted, when you think you are safe. He stopped in front of another recruit, a large insectoid with 6 legs. Kale kicked the creature's front leg. The insectoid collapsed with a cry of pain. Too fragile. Medical team. The robots came again. Yuna watched carefully. She noticed that Kale was not attacking at random. He was choosing the recruits that looked confident. He was targeting the ones who thought they were strong. He was breaking them first to send a message to everyone else. Kale continued down the rows. He struck 5 more recruits. Some blocked his attacks but were still knocked down by the force. Some tried to dodge but were too slow. One recruit tried to fight back and received 3 broken ribs for his effort. The other recruits stood frozen. They did not know if they would be next. Fear filled the air like a cold fog. Kale reached the back row. He stopped in front of Yuna. For a long moment, he just looked at her. His yellow eyes moved up and down, studying her small body. Then he pulled out a small datapad from his belt and looked at the screen. Human, he said. The word sounded like an insult. Species classification, unknown. Planet of origin, Earth. Scanner notation, Earthborn. He put the datapad away. I have heard stories about humans. Your species is new to galactic space. You have no military history, no famous warriors, no great battles. He leaned down until his face was close to hers. I have also heard that human bones break like dry branches, that human skin tears like wet paper, that humans are the weakest species to ever reach the stars. Yuna said nothing. She stood at attention with her eyes forward. Kale straightened up. Let us test these stories. He took 1 step back. Then he launched a kick at her midsection. Kale's kicks were famous throughout the academy. His species could shatter stone with their legs. The force of a full-power kick from Kale had hospitalized recruits from the strongest species in the galaxy. One kick had once broken through a metal training dummy. This kick was full power. Yuna moved. Her hand shot out faster than anyone could see. Her fingers wrapped around Kale's ankle. The impact made a sound like thunder. A wave of pressure rolled through the hall, pushing against the nearby recruits, and then there was silence. Yuna held Kale's leg in the air. Her arm did not shake. Her body did not move. She held him as easily as if she was holding a cup of water. Kale's eyes went wide. For the first time in 40 years, he felt something he had forgotten existed. Fear. Yuna looked up at him. Her eyes were calm and steady. When she spoke, her voice was quiet but clear. And don't forget it. She released his leg. Kale stumbled backward. He almost fell but caught himself at the last moment. His chest was moving fast. His breath was rough and uneven. The entire hall was frozen. 300 recruits stood in perfect silence. They did not move. They did not breathe. They had just seen something impossible. The small human had stopped Instructor. Kale's kick with one hand. Yuna returned to her attention stance. She looked forward as if nothing had happened. Jury stared at her with his large, unblinking eyes. His mouth was open but no words came out. Tal looked like she had been struck by lightning. All 4 of her arms hung loose at her sides. For the first time since Yuna had met her, the warrior was completely silent. Kale stood in the center of the hall. He looked at Yuna. He looked at his own leg. He looked at the datapad on his belt. "Class dismissed," he said. His voice was strange and thin. "Return to your barracks. Training will continue tomorrow." The recruits filed out of the hall in silence. Nobody spoke. Nobody laughed. Nobody made jokes about the small human anymore. Una walked with them. She kept her head down and her pace steady. She did not look back, but inside, she allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy had looked at humans and seen weakness. The galaxy had looked at her and seen something small and fragile and easy to break. The galaxy was wrong, and now everyone was starting to understand. The barracks was quiet that night. Tal had not returned from dinner. She was probably somewhere else, thinking about what she had seen. Dory sat on his bed with his legs crossed and his large eyes fixed on Una. Una was reading her small book. She turned the pages slowly and did not look up. "How?" Dory finally asked. His voice was barely above a whisper. Una did not answer immediately. She finished the page she was reading and placed a small piece of cloth between the pages to mark her place. Then she closed the book and looked at her friend. "How what?" she asked. "How did you do that?" Dory leaned forward. His fins twitched with nervous energy. Instructor Kale is from a high-gravity world. His species can break metal with their bare hands. His kick should have killed you. It should have gone right through your body. Una set her book aside. She looked at Dory for a long moment, as if deciding whether to tell him the truth. "What do you know about Earth?" she asked. Dory thought about it. "Not much. It is a new contact world. Your species only joined galactic civilization 20 years ago. The records say Earth is a small planet with one moon. It has water and land and a yellow sun." Una nodded slowly. "That is what the records say. But the records do not tell the full story." She stood up and walked to the small window. The stars outside were bright and cold. Somewhere among them, invisible from this distance, was her home. "Earth is what the Galactic Survey calls a Category 12 world," she said. "Do you know what that means?" Dory shook his head. The Galactic Survey rates planets on a scale from 1 to 12. Category 1 planets are paradise worlds. Perfect temperature. Gentle weather. No dangerous animals or plants. Everything is safe and easy. She turned to face him. Her eyes were serious. Category 12 is the opposite. It means a death world. A planet so dangerous that intelligent life should never be able to evolve there. A planet that kills everything that tries to live on it. Dory's fins went flat against his arms. "Earth is a death world?" "Earth is the death world," Una said. "The most dangerous Category 12 planet ever discovered." She sat down on her bed across from him. Her voice was calm and steady, like she was telling a story she had told many times before. "Let me explain what Earth is like. Our gravity is 1.0 by galactic standard. That does not sound like much, but most intelligent species evolved on planets with gravity between 0.4 and 0.7. Our gravity is nearly twice as strong as normal. Every day of our lives, we carry that weight. Our bones grow thick and dense to handle it. Our muscles develop to work under constant pressure." Dory looked at her thin arms. They did not look special. But now he understood that what he saw was not the truth. "Our atmosphere is 20% oxygen," Una continued. "Oxygen is a combustion accelerant. It helps things burn. On most planets, fire is rare and easy to control. On Earth, fire spreads fast and destroys everything in its path. We learn to use fire as a tool, but we also learn to fear it." She held up her hand. In the low light, Dory could see small scars on her palm and fingers. "Our planet has weather that would destroy cities on other worlds. Hurricanes that span 1,000 kilometers. Tornadoes that can lift buildings into the sky. earthquakes that crack the ground open, floods that cover entire regions in water, droughts that last for years and turn forests into deserts. Dury was having trouble breathing. His gills opened and closed rapidly. And then there are the other creatures, Una said. Earth is filled with life, and almost all of it can kill you. We have predators with teeth and claws. We have animals that are poisonous to touch. We have insects that carry diseases. We have plants that will make you sick if you eat them. We have bacteria and viruses that have killed millions of our people throughout history. She paused to let him absorb all of this. The Galactic Survey has a rule, she said. When they find a Category 12 world, they mark it on their maps and tell everyone to stay away. They do not expect anything intelligent to come from such places. But humans did, Dury said softly. But humans did. Una smiled, but there was no humor in it. We evolved on this death world. We survived everything it threw at us. And we did not just survive. We conquered it. She stood up and walked back to the window. Our ancestors were not the fastest animals or the strongest. They did not have sharp claws or thick armor or deadly poison. But they had something else. They had endurance. Endurance? Dury did not understand the word. The ability to keep going when others stop. On Earth, our ancestors hunted by chasing their prey. They would follow an animal for hours, sometimes for days. The animal would run and run and run, but our ancestors would keep walking. They would not stop. They could not be escaped. Eventually, the prey would collapse from exhaustion, and then our ancestors would be there, waiting. Dury felt a chill run through his body. He had never heard of anything like this. We call it persistence hunting, Una said. It is how we survived. Not by being stronger or faster, but by never giving up. By always being there, no matter how long it took. She turned to face him again. This is what Earthborn means, Dury. It means we come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. It means our bodies are designed for constant struggle. It means we do not know how to quit. Dury was silent for a long time. Finally, he spoke. The galaxy thinks humans are weak. Yes, but the galaxy is wrong. Una nodded. The galaxy looked at us and saw small creatures with soft skin. They saw something fragile and breakable. They did not understand what we had already survived, just to exist. She walked back to her bed and picked up her book again. Instructor Kale's kick was strong. On his world, it would be deadly. But his world has gravity that is only slightly higher than the galactic average. His strength comes from his size and his muscles. She opened her book to her marked page. My strength comes from being born on a world that has been trying to kill my species for 200,000 years. His kick was strong. But Earth is stronger. Dury sat in silence as Una began to read again. He thought about everything she had told him. He thought about the small blue planet that had created this small woman, who could stop a giant's kick with one hand. For the first time since he had arrived at the academy, Dury felt something unexpected. He felt safe, because he was friends with a human. And now he understood what that meant. 3 days passed after the incident in the training hall. During those 3 days, whispers spread through station horizon like wind spreading seeds across a field. Everyone was talking about the human who stopped Instructor Kale's kick. Some said it was a trick. Some said the human had hidden technology in her body. Some said Kale was sick that day, and his kick was weak. Nobody wanted to believe the truth. The truth was too strange. While UNA continued her training as if nothing had happened. She woke up early. She exercised alone before breakfast. She attended every class and followed every order. She did not brag or show off or talk about what she had done. This made the other recruits nervous. They could not understand her. On the 4th day, a message appeared on the Academy's main announcement board. It was posted by Instructor Kale himself. The message was only 2 lines long. I invoke the right of formal challenge. Una of Earth will answer or leave the Academy in shame. The formal challenge was an old tradition. It came from a time when the Academy was new and disputes were settled with blood instead of words. The rules were simple. 2 fighters would enter a marked circle. They would fight until one surrendered or could no longer continue. There were no other rules. The tradition had not been used in over 50 years. Most instructors considered it outdated and dangerous. But it had never been removed from the Academy's laws. It was still valid. Yun received the message during lunch. Dory was sitting across from her when she read it on her personal device. His green face went pale. "You cannot accept this," he said. "Kale wants to destroy you. He wants revenge for what happened." Una took a bite of her food. "If I refuse, I have to leave the Academy. That is the law." "Then leave," Dory pleaded. "Your life is worth more than your pride." Una looked at him. Her eyes were calm. "This is not about pride, Dory. This is about something bigger. What could be bigger than your life?" Una set down her eating utensil. She leaned forward and spoke quietly. "For 20 years, humans have been part of galactic civilization. In that time, we have been mocked. We have been dismissed. We have been treated like children who do not belong at the adult table. Every human who has tried to prove themselves has been pushed aside." She picked up her device and looked at the challenge message. "If I refuse this challenge, every human after me will suffer for it. They will say that when a human was tested, she ran away. They will use my fear as proof that we are weak." She put the device down. "But if I accept and win, everything changes. Every human who comes to this academy after me will be treated differently. They will be respected. They will be given a chance." Dory wanted to argue. He wanted to tell her that she was being foolish. But when he looked at her face, he saw something that stopped his words. He saw certainty. He saw purpose. He saw a woman who had already made her decision. "I will accept the challenge," Una said. "And I will win." The fight was scheduled for that evening. Word spread quickly, and by the time the sun cycle reached its end, the main combat hall was filled with spectators. Recruits sat in the upper galleries. Instructors stood along the walls. Officers from the station command had come to watch. Una entered the hall through the south door. She wore simple training clothes and no armor. Her feet were bare. Her hands were empty. Kale entered through the north door. He wore the ceremonial armor of his people, thick plates of metal that covered his chest and shoulders. His fists were wrapped in hardened leather. His eyes burned with anger. The betting odds appeared on a screen above the hall. Kale was favored 50-1. Almost no one believed the human could win. A referee stepped into the center of the circle marked on the floor. He raised his hand. "The challenge has been made and accepted. The fight will continue until one fighter surrenders or cannot continue. There are no other rules." He looked at both fighters. "Begin." Kale charged immediately. He was fast for his size. His legs pushed against the floor with tremendous force, launching him across the circle like a boulder fired from a cannon. His fist swung toward Una's head with enough power to crush stone. Una stepped to the side. Kale's fist passed through empty air. Before he could recover, she was behind him, but she did not attack. She simply waited. Kale turned and charged again. Again, Una dodged. Again, she did not strike back. This pattern continued for several minutes. Kale attacked with everything he had. Kicks that could break metal. Punches that could shatter bone. Elbow strikes and knee strikes and headbutts. Every attack missed or barely touched her. The crowd began to murmur. What was the human doing? Why was she not fighting back? Una knew exactly what she was doing. Kyle's species was designed for short, explosive combat. Their muscles were powerful but inefficient. They burned energy quickly and recovered slowly. A fight against one of Kale's people was supposed to end in the first few minutes. If it did not, they would run out of strength. Una's species was different. Humans were designed for long efforts. Their muscles were efficient. Their bodies could keep moving for hours without rest. They did not burn bright and fade. They burned steady and never stopped. 10 minutes passed. Kale was breathing hard. Sweat dripped from his gray skin. His attacks were becoming slower. 20 minutes passed. Kale's armor felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. His arms were heavy. His legs were tired. He had never fought this long in his life. 30 minutes passed. Kale could barely stand. He leaned forward with his hands on his knees, gasping for air. His body was shaking from exhaustion. Una stood in front of him. She was breathing normally. She was not tired at all. "On Earth," she said, "our ancestors would chase animals across open plains for days. We would walk. They would run. And eventually, they would fall." She circled him slowly. Her steps were light and easy. "You cannot run from us, Kale. You cannot hide from us. You cannot wait for us to get tired. Because we do not get tired. We just keep coming." Kale tried to attack one more time. He swung his arm in a wide arc. Una caught his wrist, twisted, and threw him to the ground. Then she struck. 3 hits. Fast and precise. One to the nerve cluster in his neck. One to the pressure point under his arm. One to the soft tissue between his armor plates. Kale collapsed. He could not move. His body had simply stopped working. Una stood over him. She was not even breathing hard. "Yield," she said. The hall was completely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Kale looked up at her. His yellow eyes were filled with something new. Not anger. Not hatred. Something he had not felt in 40 years of combat. Respect. "I yield," he said. The referee raised his hand. "The challenge is complete. Una of Earth is the victor." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, someone began to clap. Then another. Then another. The sound grew until it filled the entire hall. Recruits were standing. Instructors were nodding. Even the officers were impressed. Una helped Kale to his feet. He was heavy, but she supported his weight without effort. "Good fight," she said. Kale looked at her. His breathing was still rough, but a small smile appeared on his stone-gray face. "Good fight," he agreed. "Earthborn." The word was not an insult anymore. It was a title, a mark of respect. Una walked out of the hall with the cheers of the crowd behind her. She had done more than win a fight. She had changed how the galaxy saw her people, and this was only the beginning. The morning after the fight, Una woke up to find 23 messages on her personal device. 12 were from instructors asking her to join their advanced training programs. 5 were from officers offering positions in special units. 3 were from researchers requesting interviews about human biology. And 3 were from humans on other stations, thanking her for what she had done. She read them all but answered none. There was still work to do. In the dining hall, everything was different. When Una walked in, the conversation stopped. Hundreds of eyes turned to look at her. But this time, they were not looking at something weak and fragile. They were looking at something they did not understand. Something they feared. Something they respected. Una got her food and sat at her usual table. Dory was already there, his green face bright with happiness. "You did it," he said. "Everyone is talking about you. The whole station knows what happened." "I know," Una said. She began to eat. "I received many messages this morning. Are you going to accept any of the offers?" "Some of them," The Academy has invited me to join the advanced combat track. I will start tomorrow. Dury nodded eagerly. That is wonderful. You deserve it. A shadow fell across the table. Yuna looked up to see Tal standing there. The tall warrior had all four of her arms crossed over her chest. Her face was serious but not hostile. May I sit? Tal asked. Why Yuna gestured to the empty seat beside Dury. Tal sat down heavily. For a moment, she did not speak. She just looked at Yuna with her dark eyes. I was wrong about you, Tal finally said. I judged you by your appearance. I thought you were weak because you were small. I was a fool. You were not wrong to be careful, Yuna said. The galaxy is dangerous. Trusting the wrong person can get you killed. But I did not give you a chance. I dismissed you before I knew anything about you. Tal unfolded her arms and placed her hands flat on the table. On my world, when a warrior makes a mistake, they must admit it openly. So I am admitting my mistake. I was wrong. You are strong. Stronger than me. Yuna stopped eating. She looked at Tal for a long moment. I do not think I am stronger than you, she said. I think we are strong in different ways. You have power and speed. I have endurance and patience. In a short fight, you would destroy me. In a long fight, I would outlast you. Tal considered this. Then she nodded slowly. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps there are many kinds of strength. She leaned forward. Will you teach me? Will you show me how humans fight? Yuna smiled. Yes, but only if you teach me as well. I want to learn how your people use forearms in combat. Tal's serious face cracked into a grin. Deal. Over the next few weeks, everything changed at the Academy. Instructors pulled up Earth's file and read it properly for the first time. They discovered the wars and diseases that humans had survived. They learned about human endurance and human healing. They found records of humans climbing frozen mountains, crossing burning deserts, and swimming across oceans. The more they read, the more amazed they became. They survived an ice age, one instructor muttered. Their entire planet froze, and they survived. They have diseases that kill millions, and they keep fighting, another said. They call them plagues. They have had dozens of them throughout their history. Their own planet has tried to kill them with earthquakes, floods, fires, and storms. And they just rebuild and continue. The information spread through the Academy, and then to the station, and then to other stations throughout the galaxy. Humans were not weak. Humans were survivors. Humans came from a death world, and they had conquered it. More human recruits began to arrive at the Academy. Each one was flagged Earthborn by the scanner. Each one was treated with respect from the moment they stepped off their ship. Yuna trained with Dury and Tal every day. She helped other recruits who were struggling. She answered questions about Earth and humans. She became something she had never expected to be. She became a symbol. On the day of graduation, Yuna stood on a platform in front of the entire Academy. She wore the uniform of a graduate with honors. Beside her stood Dury and Tal, both of whom had also completed their training. The Academy commander, an ancient being with silver scales and wise eyes, approached Yuna with a medal in his hand. For exceptional performance and for bringing honor to this Academy, we award you the Star of Excellence. He pinned the medal to her uniform. You have also been selected to join the Galactic Expeditionary Force as a junior officer. Do you accept? I accept, Yuna said. The crowd applauded. When the ceremony ended, Yuna made her way through the crowd of graduates and well-wishers. Near the exit, a small creature with soft fur and large frightened eyes stopped her. Excuse me, the creature said. Its voice was thin and nervous. You are Yuna? The human? I am. The creature looked at the floor. I am from a peaceful world. We have no warriors. We have no fighters. I came to the academy because I wanted to protect my family, but I am scared. I am so scared all the time." It looked up at her with tears in its eyes. "Is it true? About your planet? About what humans survived?" Yuna knelt down so she was at the creature's eye level. She spoke gently but firmly. "It is true. Earth tried to kill us in every way possible. Storms, predators, disease, cold, heat, starvation, war. We faced all of it. And we survived. But how? How did you keep going when everything was trying to destroy you?" Yuna thought about the question. She thought about her ancestors who had chased prey across endless plains. She thought about the first humans who had tamed fire and built shelters against the cold. She thought about the generations who had faced plagues and famines and wars and had refused to give up. "Earth taught us one thing," she said. "The universe does not care if you survive. It will not help you. It will not make things easy. It will throw everything it has at you and watch to see if you fall." She put her hand on the creature's shoulder. "So you make it care. You stand up. You fight back. You refuse to fall. Not because you are not scared, but because you are scared and you keep going anyway. That is what courage is. That is what survival is." The creature wiped its eyes. "Do you think I can learn to be brave? I know you can, because you are already here. You left your peaceful world and came to a place that terrifies you. You are already braver than you think." Yuna stood up. She looked toward the docking bay where her new ship was waiting. The universe is big and dark and dangerous. But it is also full of wonder, full of beauty, full of things worth protecting. She looked back at the small creature. Find something worth fighting for, and then never stop fighting for it. She walked toward the docking bay. Her ship was a sleek vessel painted in the colors of the expeditionary force. Duri and Tal were waiting at the boarding ramp. "Ready?" Duri asked. "Ready," Yuna said. She walked up the ramp and into her new life. Behind her, the academy grew smaller as the ship lifted off and turned toward the stars. The scanner at the station logged her departure. Next to her name, it displayed a single word "Earthborn." Below that word, someone had added a note. It was the first official annotation to any human file in the Galactic database. Handle with respect. Yuna did not see the note. She was already looking forward, toward the endless darkness between the stars. Toward the adventures waiting for her. Toward a future that her ancestors could never have imagined. They had survived on a death world, so that she could touch the stars, and she would make them proud.